Hey there and welcome back to Mass Effect 2. My name is Pete and today we complete an episode that is a little less action-packed than usual. In our last episode we had a lot of fighting in our quest to recruit the Asari matriarch Samara, so today we'll spend most of our time here on the Normandy connecting with the crew. We will also complete another small side quest on Illium at the end of the episode, but for now we'll stay on board of the ship. And we are starting things off today with some research. In Samara's recruitment mission we picked up a biotic damage upgrade, and this will now give a nice 30% biotic damage bonus to our entire squad. Completing this project also unlocks another one, namely the biotic cooldown upgrade, which decreases the cooldown time for all of our biotic powers by 20%. Especially for some of the pure biotics like Samara and Jack, this is very useful, as we can now use most of their powers in very quick succession. And with research completed, let us now have a quick chat with Kelly Chambers.
Jack's tattoos are beautiful. As colorful as her past, I'm sure. I have concerns with her temper, though.
You have worries about Jack?
I know she'll be solid under fire, but her attitude suggests deep personal issues. She pushes people away, yet approaches sex casually. I don't think she understands her own motivations. I wouldn't be surprised if she makes advances on you. If you want her respect, think twice.
She is still talking about Jack, even though we have recruited new squad members in the meantime, so we might want to talk to her a bit more often. For now, though, we can reassure her that we won't do anything stupid.
I'll do my best not to piss her off.
Please warn me if you fail. I want a chance to hide. Anyway, what's up?
And that's also already all we came for.
That'll be all.
Take care. Commander, you've received a new message at your private terminal.
After our conversation, Kelly then informs us that we have new messages, so let's take a closer look at those. The first one here kind of reminds me of the Nigerian prince scam. A person that we have never heard of addresses us with "Dear Sir" or "Madam" and promises the transfer of valuable Prothean technology, however only if we confront the small payment of 20,000 credits. Needless to say, this can go right in the spam folder and we can have a closer look at message number 2. And this one actually has a bit more value, as it comes from one of the Salarian construction workers that we met in the Dentius Towers when we tried to recruit Thane. As you might remember, a lot of the workers there were gunned down by Nasana's security forces, however we also helped some of them escape, and as a result we now receive this thank you message. The Salarian also describes in detail that something within him changed when he saw Thane for the first time, and that he now plans to do something more meaningful with his life. We don't know at this point what exactly that is going to be, but it is nice to see that Thane apparently had a positive impact. And that now completes another small point on our to-do list for this episode. Up next, we can quickly pay a visit to Joker in the cockpit, because as usual, after the addition of another crew member, he won't hold back with his opinion.
So, Commander, even your Asari are trained killers? Get everyone at the same store or something?
And while he's speaking his mind, we might as well also get a few more lines out of him. So let's ask him about Grunt and Thane, the two guys we went out with last.
What do you think about the people we're picking up?
Well, about the ones you went out with last, Grunt is not a stabilizing element, Commander. And Thane seems like the strong, sensitive, murdering type. You know, those are always great to have around, a real cuddler. It's just my opinion, though. There's really no need to go spreading it around.
And that completes this short conversation as well. Time to leave and continue with the next one.
That's it for now.
See you, Commander.
Now, in total, we have 3 major conversations lined up in this episode. The first 2 will be with our 2 latest recruits, Samara and Thane, while number 3 will take place with Miranda. The entire rest of the squad is ready to give us their loyalty missions at this point, so the next few episodes will likely also feature some of those. Our trip now takes us down to the crew's quarters, and as always, we'll listen into the story of crewman Ralston.
I just got a message from my wife. I've been listening to my daughters giggle over and over.
That's so cute.
When this mission is over, I'm gonna give her the longest hug she's ever had.
Alright, things are certainly looking a lot better for him. That certainly brightens our mood as we now step into Samara's room to have our first lengthy conversation with her.
Shepard,
How are you?
I've spent much of the last 400 years on my own. It is nice to have a colleague to chat with. I may be rusty at it, however. If you are patient, I would love to talk.
And before we get to the personal stuff, I think it can't hurt to get her up to speed regarding the mission. After all, defeating the Collectors is still our main objective.
How much do you know about our mission?
I know that I've sworn an oath to follow you, and that you seek to destroy the Collectors. That is enough for me.
You don't want to know why the Collectors need to be fought?
When you live by a code that compels you to harsh action, you learn the dangers of curiosity. If I must kill a man because he has done wrong, do I really wish to know that he is a devoted father?
Interesting point, and one that might also apply to her employers, so let's find out how much Samara actually knows about the organization funding this whole business.
What do you think of Cerberus?
I've heard rumors, but learned long ago to form my own impressions. There is too much room for interpretation in the opinions of others.
Why were you willing to work for Cerberus when you didn't have first-hand knowledge?
I work for you, Shepard. Our methods may be different, but our goals are not.
And speaking of goals, we also know that Samara is still not finished with her own investigation, and maybe we can help her with that, provided of course we learn a bit more about who she's actually chasing.
I'd like to hear more about the criminal you were chasing on Nos Astra.
I hope you will understand if I wish to avoid this topic. It is deeply tied to my code and beliefs. You might say it is personal.
I need to know if this will impact the mission.
It will not.
Alright, looks like that is all she's willing to share with us at this point, but who knows, maybe with a bit of time she's willing to open up more.
I should get back to work.
It has been my pleasure, Commander.
Now, while this first part of the conversation is now over, we still have a few more basic questions to ask, and we'll start with Samara's thoughts on the progress we're making.
Shepard,
How do you think our mission is going?
building our forces is a good strategy. However, the time to strike is coming soon.
Up next, we can also get a few insightful lines regarding Miranda and Jacob, who are both the longest-serving members in our crew.
What are your impressions of Miranda and Jacob?
Jacob is an earnest young man. Events will either forge him into a great man or utterly destroy him. Miranda is undoubtedly a hard woman. I respect her strength and determination. She carries many burdens and doesn't share them with others, as it should be.
And last but not least, we can talk about upgrades. Every crew member had some ideas so far, so I doubt Samara will leave us hanging.
Do you have any suggestions about using some of the resources we've gathered?
I believe I can use some of them to increase our fuel reserves so we can explore further. Shall I tell you what is required?
Show me what it would take.
Alright, and this particular upgrade can be found under ship enhancements, and by researching the extended fuel cells, we can now increase the Normandy's fuel capacity. And that completes our time with her, at least for now. Up next, we have Assassin Thane waiting for us. Last time we spoke a bit about his health condition and about the Drell in general, so let's see what we can learn today.
Do you need something?
Have a few minutes to talk?
Certainly.
Right, so we're now being presented with 3 ways to ask him about being an assassin, and it doesn't look like it, but the option at the top actually gives 2 Paragon points, so let's go with that one.
If you don't mind my saying, you don't really seem like an assassin.
You've spent too much time fighting thugs who think custom-painted armor makes them professionals. The Hanar trained my body for this role since I was 6 years old.
Right, so the Hanar trained him, and from a very young age, both aspects that we should probably explore a bit further.
You've been killing since you were 6?
Of course not. I didn't make my first kill until I was 12. They were training me. I was not to be used and thrown away. I was an investment.
You were a child, not an investment.
I've given you the wrong idea. They valued me, yes, as a resource, but also as a person. They regretted their need for me.
The Hanar? Excessively polite, worship the Protheans? They don't seem the type who'd train assassins.
Every species trains assassins. The Hanar are only unusual in that they need other species to do the killing for them. They have a strong grip and natural toxins, but have you ever seen one move quickly outside of water? Or fire a gun?
Now, at least at this point, we haven't heard anything about Thane losing his parents or anything like that, which makes one wonder why they would agree to this sort of upbringing.
Why did your parents agree to this?
The agreement was made under the Compact. It was an honor for our family.
The Compact?
We live on the Hanar homeworld because they rescued us, some of us, from extinction. We owe them our lives. That is the Compact.
Alright, this compact is definitely something that we should learn more about, but the whole story about Drell extinction is also new to us, so let us ask a few questions about that as well.
What exactly are the terms of the compact?
There are many things the Hanar can't do, even with mechanical aid. They ask Drell to assist them.
This can't be legal. They made your whole race into slaves.
Don't insult me, Shepard. Anyone can refuse to serve. Few do. We owe our existence to the Hanar. We are proud to repay the debt.
The way you describe it, the Hanar sound like weaklings.
Out here, they are. But if you could see them in the encompassing, the oceans of Kaje, you would see them differently. A stream of silver in the dark, looping, diving, so fast the eye can't follow. After, like the squeals of a child gliding into the water, they fly over the black of the seabed like birds, plumed with the light of heaven.
Why was your race going extinct?
Overpopulation. That must sound trite to you. Humans developed Mass Effect drive before the problem became acute. Our homeworld, Rakana, had few resources. We hadn't even developed fusion power when the soil began to fail from overuse and pollution. The Hanar found us a century ago. They sent hundreds of ships, evacuated thousands of us. Billions more had to be left behind.
What's the state of Rakana now?
Do you read your philosophers? A man named Thomas Hobbes? When all the world is overcharged with inhabitants, then the last remedy of all is war, which provideth for every man by victory or death. As Rakana died around them, my people slaughtered each other for mouthfuls of water, crumbs of food.
Now, from what we know, it seemed like Thane was not actually working for the Hanar anymore when he went to the dentist towers. And that of course begs the question if he was maybe working for someone else, or if he was doing this job for personal reasons.
But you don't kill for the Hanar anymore. You're freelance. What changed?
I was asleep for a long time, yes. I paid no attention to what my body was asked to do, but then... Laser dot trembles on the skull. One finger twitch, he dies. Then, the smell of spice on the spring wind. Sunset-colored eyes defiant in the scope. The laser dances away. My apologies. Drell slip into memory so easily.
Was that one of your assassinations?
Yes. Perhaps we can discuss it later. I've wasted too much of your time.
Okay, sounds like an assassination gone wrong, or at least interrupted, but certainly a point that might require further discussion. For now, though, we're done here and can get a few lines out of Kasumi.
Hey, Shepard. Joker and Edie are like an old married couple. I keep expecting to walk in on them bickering about the temperature in the cockpit. Edie has a wicked sense of humor. Or I should say, a really funny lack of one. Sometimes she seems like a person. But when it comes down to it, I can't get past her being a computer. This one security guy keeps staring at me. I think his name is Bert. I'm used to being watched by security, but they're usually staring at my eyes or watching my hands. I might have to start cloaking through the CIC from now on. Come back later. I'm sure I'll have more to talk about.
Right, Kasumi and the men on the Normandy, that seems to be an ongoing story. We'll see what else she has to tell us, but for now we can head over to Miranda's office.
I haven't had a meal that good in a long time.
I didn't think Rupert had it in him.
And the extra provisions we bought on the Citadel appear to have a long-lasting effect, and it's nice to see the crew happy and in a good mood.
Commander, what can I do for you?
You have a minute, Miranda?
Of course. I'd been meaning to speak with you, in fact. I wanted to apologize. I didn't fully believe you'd be up to the task, and it seems I was wrong. Frankly, based on what I've seen, I wish Cerberus had recruited you earlier.
Now, Shepard's stance regarding Cerberus once again comes to play here, and this is a morality decision, so for 2 Paragon points we'll keep up the rather skeptical outlook for a while longer.
I trust you, but I don't trust Cerberus. Your experiments crossed the line.
All the time, yes. But I recall a Spectre who crossed a few lines while hunting down Saren and the Geth, and we'd be lucky to have you. Too many join us out of simple xenophobia. We need more people here for the right reasons.
Well, the right reasons are somewhat hard to see after learning what Cerberus did to kids like Jack, and also after disrupting several of their experiments back in Mass Effect 1.
What was Cerberus trying to prove by experimenting on children like Jack?
A mistake, no question. Not mine. And one that was corrected once we discovered the extent of the experiments being performed.
I saw your bases years ago. You were using Rachni, Thorian creepers, even husks to make your own army.
The husks were already dead, the Thorian creatures were mindless, and the Rachni were abandoned once we understood their intelligence. We weren't breeding an army, we were breeding expendable shock troops for high-risk scenarios. How many soldiers died in Saren's attack on Eden Prime? How many would have lived if we'd had just a dozen Rachni soldiers on our side?
Now, despite her rational arguments, Miranda's commitment to Cerberus seems to run a lot deeper. So let's get to the bottom of it. Why is she really this enamored with the organization?
With your intelligence, you could have landed any job you wanted. Why choose this?
Because I still envy the time Morden spent with the Special Tasks Group, working with people as smart as he was. Cerberus never tells me that something is impossible. They give me my resources and say do it. And they've given you even more. A new life, a new ship, the elusive man's personal attention.
Well, and not to mention 2 very talented operatives, one of which will get some extra praise here for 2 Paragon points.
The best thing he did was to put you on my squad.
You'd have done fine without me. I may not have believed it before, but I don't have what you do. That fire that makes someone willing to follow you into hell itself. My father got me the best jeans money could buy. Guess it wasn't enough.
And once again, we're back to a topic that Miranda just can't seem to let go, which is understandable to be honest, but let's try to be supportive for 2 more Paragon points.
You always bring up your genetic tailoring. It really bothers you, doesn't it?
This is what I am, Shepard. I can't hide it. The intelligence, the looks, even the biotics. He paid for all of that. Every one of your accomplishments is due to your skill. The only things I can take credit for are my mistakes.
And I would say Miranda could use a bit of a confidence boost here, so for 2 Paragon points we can compliment her, although no longer necessarily in a strictly professional manner.
I can't admire your body or your mind. You give your father too much credit. Yeah, he gave you gifts, but you can be proud of what you've done with them.
Oh, thank you. Perhaps I wouldn't mind if you admired my body.
Alright, I think it's safe to say we have slowly crossed the border into a more intimate conversation. However, for now we'll also go along with it. This does not lock in any type of romance at this point, it just signals that Shepard is not entirely uninterested.
You wouldn't, huh?
I think I could live with it.
It's only fair. You've had 2 years to look at me. And I was wearing less than you are.
Shepard, wait. I need to think about this.
Scared, Ms. Lawson?
Cautious, Commander Shepard. But interested. Very interested. For now, I should work and think. I'll talk to you later.
Alright, that's 8 Paragon points for us, and things between Shepard and Miranda seem to be heating up. However, once again, this does not yet lock in anything. It does not mean that Miranda is going to be our romantic partner in this game, but in good completionist fashion, I want you to experience as much of the game as possible, and so Commander Shepard will keep his options open as long as he can. Our business here on the Normandy is now also pretty much concluded at this point. We can now make a quick stop in the captain's cabin to feed our fish, and then head back down to the CIC for one last short trip back to Illium.
Jack would like to talk with you, Commander.
Kelly now informs us that Jack would like to talk to us, but just like Grunt and Morden, she would give us a loyalty mission next, and as I said, those conversations can wait for a while. As we now head down to Illium, we can pick our squad and we'll take Samara for the first time, and we'll also go with Morden, who hasn't seen any action for quite a while now. As a result of completing the last mission, we have gained 2 more squad points, but with Shepard I would actually like to max out incendiary ammo next, so we will save the points for now. As you can see, Morden has not been with us in a while, he has accumulated 6 points in total. However, we will only spend 3 of those to get the next level in Incinerate, and then we'll wait for the next level up to max out and evolve that ability. And that brings us now to Samara, who has 18 points to allocate. As usual, the first 10 go in her class-specific passive skill, the Asari Justicar, which improves health, weapon damage and the recharge time for her biotic powers. For the ability evolution at level 4, we then have two choices, the Sapiens Justicar and the Cato Justicar. The first focuses a bit more on Samara's biotic powers. It unlocks an even faster power recharge time, but the weapon damage bonus is not quite as big, while the Cato Justicar switches things around and prioritizes weapon damage over biotics. The health bonus is the same for both evolutions, and in my opinion the choice is a rather easy one here. Samara is a pure biotic and all of her abilities are biotic powers, so as usual we will go with the option that makes her strengths even stronger, and that is the first one here that focuses on her biotic powers, the Sapiens Justicar. We now have 8 points left, and that is enough to get another level in Throw, which unlocks Pull, but with the first two levels already unlocked we might as well keep going, so let's get one more rank in Throw and then we'll save the remaining points for the next level up. The weapon selection screen can then be skipped, as we won't do any combat in this episode.
Excuse me, my sources indicate you were in a warehouse recently. Did you by any chance forward a questionable shipping note to a Mr. Thax?
Right, this conversation right here happens because of something we found during Samara's recruitment mission, namely a shipping note revealing that someone named Thax was being swindled by his suppliers. And for 2 Paragon points we can also reveal our involvement.
It looked suspicious, so I passed it on.
I'm a representative for Mr. Thax. He's very grateful to you. Please accept this as a gift for bringing the shipping irregularities to his attention.
Right, we could now take the money and walk, but the whole thing sounds a bit suspicious to be honest, so let's see if we can't find out anything about the consequences of betraying Mr. Thax.
What happens to the shipping agent who was cheating Thax?
That depends on how sincere her apology is, and how willing she is to correct her mistake.
And for good measure, we will also offer our help again, even though it seems like Thax has everything under control.
Do you want help finding the person who cheated Thax?
Thank you, but that won't be necessary. Mr. Thax will be making a series of polite calls. Hopefully a confrontation will not be required.
Alright, and that completes the conversation and also our final small assignment here on Illium.
It was my pleasure.
Have a pleasant day.
We earn 40 experience points and 5 renegade points for completing the assignment. We also get 2 paragon points for our dialogue choices and 1,500 credits as a reward for forwarding the message. Now, instead of immediately heading back to our ship, we have one more thing on our to-do list for today's episode, but it won't take long, and on the way there we can even get a few more lines out of our squad members.
Asari building structure resembles hive. Tall buildings filled with drones. Curious social dynamic. Many queens competing for hive leadership. Odd feelings around Asari. Unfamiliar. Reminders of old fertility contract negotiations.
The people here are asked to sacrifice their own convictions and beliefs in exchange for a soulless corporate identity. I understand that kind of life would be attractive to some people, but not to me.
Right, and this shopping terminal right here is what we came for, because the bypass module that is for sale here is the last remaining item that we have not yet bought here on Illium.
This is valuable.
And to be honest, we would be completely fine without purchasing this. The bypassing minigame is really not that hard and the price of 25,000 credits is respectable, but keep in mind this is a completionist playthrough of the game, and that includes the purchase of every single available item or upgrade, no matter how useless they might be. And with this final purchase made, we can now return to the Normandy. At least for now, there is absolutely nothing else we can do here on Illium. That is, apart from one particular DLC for the game. I would like to save that for later though, so for now we can leave Illium behind and get ready for new adventures elsewhere. And here we are with a very fitting end to today's episode. As I said, we have a few loyalty missions that we could get to now, and there are also a few smaller assignments in convenient locations that we'll pick up as we go along as well. For today though, we'll make the cut right here. I hope my voice wasn't too nasal throughout the entire thing. I am still recovering from a rather nasty cold, and my voice still doesn't really sound the way I want it to. Still, I do hope that you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, then I would be happy if you could leave a thumbs up. And if you want to support me and my channel further, then go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Alternatively, you can of course also support the Pete Complete Patreon. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.